welcome back to my channel. It's so lovely to have you here once again. Today I would like to show you how I made a Jibanyan cake. Sorry, I don't know how to pronounce it. My son requested for this. He's a Yokai Watch game fan, and this is one of the characters. So I'm going to be trying my hands at making the Jibanyan cake. So if you would like to see how I made it, keep watching till the end, and I hope you enjoy the video. So the first thing I'll be doing will be to make the body. For that, I'm going to be using this circular cutter. It's about 3.8 inches. I'm going to cut out 2 circles from my cake. So if you're doing this, make sure to keep the knife straight, not at an angle. I also baked 2 cakes using this hemisphere pan. It's a ball pan. It's about 6 inches diameter. So that's going to be for the head, but I'm going to take a bit of it just to add to the body. So how I'm going to do that is I use the same cutter that I used to cut the previous circles, place it on top of the cake, and then cut out the portion like so. So I'll start stacking the cakes through the bubble straw. So this is my first circle. I'll just pass it through, and then I'll put another buttercream. And this goes in as well. Every year my son gives me a task of making a different birthday cake shaped in one of his game characters. I hope one day he doesn't ask me to to make a cake that looks like him. This is the 3rd circle. So I'm gonna crumb coat this, then put it in the fridge before I carve it. Crumb coating is just to lock up the crumbs into the cake. So it doesn't have to be smooth at this stage. So I'm going to put this in the fridge to set, then I'll come back and carve it. So while we're waiting for the other cake to set in the fridge, we'll start working on the head. So I've got another 3-inch diameter circle here, and I'm going to place another bubble tea straw through the hole which is in the middle, just to use as a guide. At some point I'll take it up. And this is the first. Remember the cake we cut out a bit the top to add to the body. This is the what was left. So I'm going to put that as my first layer. Actually I would have to put some buttercream first. You got the buttercream on the foam board, and then I'll pass this through the bubble straw. I've already made circles at the center of each of the cake. So I also have a 5-inch circle which I cut out of foam board as well. So I'll pass this through first before I put the second layer. I'm putting in the second layer. Now I'm going to crumb coat it. If you'd like to learn how I made the buttercream that I'm using to ice the cake, I'll put the link to that video in the description. If you haven't already subscribed to my channel, please don't forget to subscribe so that you won't miss out on any of my videos. So now I'm going to take this cake and put it in the fridge as well to set. So I've gotten the body from the fridge. I'm going to start carving it. Just try to take off a little at a time so you don't take too much off. So use a knife with a serrated blade to do this. So I've finished carving the cake. This is the shape you're going for. It's a bit straight at the back and slanted in front. So now that I've carved it, I'm going to coat it again with buttercream. But the buttercream shouldn't be too thick so you don't lose the shape you've already formed. Just taking off the excess buttercream. So I'm going to put this back in the fridge and come back when it's set. I'm going to give the head another coat of buttercream. I just took it out of the fridge. I'll let it set in the fridge again. So I've taken this out of the fridge again. I'm going to give it one last coat of buttercream. This goes back in the fridge, and then when it sets, we can cover it with fondant. So I have colored some fondant orange. So I'm going to roll this out. The brand of fondant I'm using here is the Massa Ticino. It's a very stretchy fondant and very easy to work with. I'm going to roll this out to roughly about 10 inches circle. And to put some corn flour down. You can see some bubbles, so I'm just gonna pop them. Some trapped air in the fondant. You can roll it to about 10 inches or more. So I've rolled this up to roughly 10 inches. Just double check the size. Okay, this is about 15 inches diameter. Then I'll go and get my cake from the fridge, and then I would cover it with the fondant. So what I'm going to do now is to roll this on my rolling pin. So I brought out the cake from the fridge. It's a bit tacky, so I wouldn't bother putting some water on it to stick the fondant. I'll take this out just so it will be easier for me to cover the cake. I'm going to put it back in at some point. And then I just roll this over. And then I'll keep stretching and rubbing it until I get to the end. This fondant is really easy to work with. It's a bit expensive, but it works out cheaper in the end because you use less. You can stretch it really thin. I'll just cut off the excess so that's out of the way. I'll use my fondant smoother just to smoothen it up a bit. So I've now transferred the body to a kickboard which I already covered with blue fondant. So I'll start working on the head. So I'm going to roll this one as well, this orange colored fondant as well, into roughly about the same size I rolled the one for the body. So just call it 15 inches diameter. So I've rolled this to about 15 inches. I would now roll it onto my rolling pin. And then get the cake and cover it. So I've taken the cake out of the fridge. I'm gonna remove this bubble straw before I cover the cake. Just like I did with the other one, I just keep rubbing it and stretching the fondant until I get to the bottom, the base of the cake. I'll cut off the excess. just using my hand to smoothen it. I'll make sure your hand is as dry as possible. You can use some cornstarch on your hands just to make it a bit dry. After smoothing it to the point where I'm satisfied, I would cut off the remaining fondant. You can use a smoother pizza cutter to cut it from the base. So this is the body. I have inserted some cake pop sticks. So I put it in and then cut it to the level of the cake just to provide some support. I also put in 2 skewers. So I'm now going to take the head and then guide it through the hole just underneath. I'm going to take 2 balls of orange colored fondant and then roll it like so. And I'll cut it into a V shape. I'm just going to take a ball of white. I've done this one already. Take a ball of white fondant, roll it into a ball, then into a cone shape, and then I'll cut these ends off like so. Then insert it into here. I've colored some fondant in yellow and rolled it into a tube shape. So I'm going to roll this out now. So I've rolled and cut out some yellow stripe. I'm going to wrap this around the body. After I've done that, I'm going to make some marks on the yellow stripe like so. You can use any tool that is not too sharp. So I'm going to do that around the cake. I took off the head so that it will be easier for me to show what I'm doing. So I'm going to roll out some gray, some fondant which I colored gray into a tin strip, and then put some water on it. Put some water here. Just attach it round. And I'll roll out a blue fondant, blue colored fondant. Just a tiny piece. Just make a bit of a mark on it like so. Some water and then stick it on here. So I've gotten a white fondant and I'm gonna just knead it a little bit and form a rough triangular shape. Roll it. Just like this. Going to put some water here. And then attach this. I'm going to use my fondant smoother again. You can see I'm using it to push it just underneath the bowl. And then I cut off the excess. I'm going to use this tool to just form this shape on here. I would also get a little ball of fondant, which I've already colored purple, just for the nose, and form it into a triangle. Put some water just here and then attach it. I'm also going to take some purple fondant again, form it into a circle, a flat circle, and then cut it like this. I'll put some water again at the back of this and put it in here. So I rolled out some yellow fondant, cut out 2 circles, and then rolled out some black fondant and cut out circles that were slightly smaller than the yellow ones. So I'm going to stick them together. I'll just put some water and then I'll put some water behind it and then attach it to the cake like so. I'll do the same for the other one. For the ear, I'll take a fondant which is already colored orange and form a triangle with it. Like so. And then I'll take a bit of purple fondant, form another triangle, but this time it will be much thinner and smaller. Then I'll attach it onto this one. I'll take a skewer insert it into the cake and then attach the ear like so. Actually, I'll put some water first so it sticks. And then form it while it's on the cake. I'm also going to take some blue fondant and form a party cone hat. I'll do that by rolling it into a triangle, making it flat at the base. And then I'll put it on the cake, like so. Just because it's a birthday cake. So just like I made the legs, I made I used the orange fondant rolled into a tube and then cut a triangular form out of the edge, inserted the white fondant, and then this is one of the hands. So I've made two of it, and I'm just gonna put a depression here and attach it to the body using skewers which I've already placed. I'll put some water as well and then attach it. I'll do the same for the other hand. Tail, I made a tube. I'm using orange fondant as well. Folded it, put skewers in it just to give it some support. Then I formed a cone with some blue fondant and then I'll attach it. You requested for a Jibanyan cake. What do you think?
It's good. It looks exactly like Jibanyan.
So are you happy?
Yes.
So that's it, guys. That's the finished cake. The Jibanyan yokai watch cake. with the party cone heart. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you haven't yet subscribed, please subscribe, like this video, share with your family and friends, and I will see you in my next video. Thank you.